Welcome, welcome. My name is Johnell. This is my guy, Matt Price, Cash Walkin', and this is Heat Check, powered by Designated Report. And we're gonna get into some NBA, some basketball talk, and if there's any questions or any ideas for us, things that you want us to talk about, let us know. But we're just trying to touch on the biggest topics of the week
Yeah. I want to
in the
boost fan
NBA.
engagement a little bit. I like that. I like that idea. Let's boost the engagement.
For
The
sure,
show is
man.
just as good as y'all make it, man. We'll talk about what y'all want to talk about.
Exactly. So
Get in the action.
we've got some topics. We'll get to them. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. We'll just see how the conversation goes, quite frankly, and we'll go from there. So, first and foremost, I'm gonna jump around. I know we had a show sheet. I'm gonna jump around a little bit, but
Oh no, I'm
um,
looking at it. I figured that wasn't the order.
um, one of the big storylines from the past week was Donovan Mitchell heading back to Utah for the first time since the trade. There's a couple things that I want to get to. We'll talk about the game first, but I also want to touch on the return to Utah, especially after some of the things that he said about his experience in Utah. But first and foremost, let's talk about the game. Donovan Mitchell went for 46 in his return to Utah and a loss, albeit, but he played great. It was a great game. And what do we take from both of these teams? I mean, the Jazz were hot earlier in the season. They've definitely come down to earth. The Cavs continue to play well. Is it an indication at all of where these teams are going or where they're going to be at the end of the year?
I don't think so. I think at the end of that game, because I watched that game, at the end of that game, it was emotion on emotion, man. Like
Yep.
the way that Jordan Clarkson really took over the game. He wasn't even having like a crazy game like that. He's having
Yep.
a good game, but the last like I want to say 8 minutes of that game, he just went and just took it over. It was just shot after shot. He was going to the free throw line, getting anything he wants. They started to blitz him. He's crossing them up high,
Yep.
taking it down the middle. Like he was doing it all that night, and I think that's what it was. It was a group of guys. Are they going to beat the? If you put those two teams in a 7-game series, it's a gentleman's sweep. It's 5 games
I agree
that
with that.
Cleveland wipes them off the floor. But they got the Jazz got that one game, and this is the game that they're like he's not gonna come back here and get that win. They just
Yeah.
were determined to stop him from that. The Jazz got good contributions, man, from everybody. Clarkson, like I said, he had 32. Most of them came in the fourth quarter. Marketing having an all-star year, 25 and 16. And then they just got a lot of guys. I said this on Twitter. They Danny Ainge has to figure out what he's going to do with this group because yes, they've come back to earth,
Yeah.
but guys like Jordan Clarkson and Malik Beasley and Michael Conley, these guys are not going to lay down and tank for you, and they're too
Absolutely not.
good. They're
Yep.
going to be somewhere flirting around playing at the end of all this. And is that going to get you Wembenyama, which is ultimately where you want to end up?
Yeah.
So when you look at it, the whole thing, to get back to the question, yeah, I don't think this means anything for either of them on the end game. The Jazz will finish 3, 4, 5 in the East, and not the Jazz.
The
The Cavs
Cavs.
will finish 3, 4, 5 in the East, and the Jazz they'll be flirting with that play-in.
Yeah.
That's where they're going to be at
Yeah. And
if
I
they don't
agree.
make a move.
The Jazz.
Yeah, if the Jazz I feel like you have marketing. That's your gem that you got out of that trade. But
Yep.
do you really want to pick middle first?
Yeah.
After all that, after you did all that, you've acquired eight first round draft picks. You get rid of your two best players, and after all that, you get the 16th pick this year. Like I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
wouldn't go that route.
and you're absolutely right. I mean, Danny Ainge. I have my thoughts and feelings on Danny Ainge in general,
I
but
know.
um, players and coaches they don't tank. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you've
Yeah,
got a
and they
collective
got a
of
new coach there, first year coach there. So
yes,
he's trying to win games.
exactly. You can't have bad tape on your resume, especially early on. So, to your point, if the Jazz and Danny Ainge are truly trying to tank and, have a very good chance in the lottery to get that number one pick, you're going to have to get rid of players like Jordan Clarkson, and because they're playing for their future. They're playing for their next contract. They're not going to go out and put out bad tape and then have the next team be like, well, why do I want this player on my team? So they're really in a tough spot. And we talked about it early on in the season when the Jazz were hovering in like that 1, 2, 3 range in the West. Like, what are you guys doing? Are you trying to win and win now? Or are you playing for the future? And they're really in a tricky spot right now.
They're hovering around 500. They compete every single night. They haven't been blown off the floor one night. Yep. They compete every single night. So you have to. It's a tough spot because if you're so close to being somewhere, but you need that superstar, and nobody is signing up to go to Salt Lake City in free agency. So that's where you have to get it. All their great players, all the Jazz great players have come through the draft. John Stockton, Karl Malone, Donovan Mitchell, Darren Williams, you name them, they all came through the draft. So that's the way they have to do it. I know it's rough on Jazz fans, but this is the way that you get back to where you want to be. You got to break this thing down. I guess they thought, if I get rid of my two best players, these are the guys that are pushing this whole thing. Yeah. This should be enough. That's crazy. It wasn't enough.
Yep.
The A's like, dang, I got to get rid of more of these guys. But you want to keep them too to build ahead with what you have coming. So it's going to be a tough thing. Like, I just feel like with Jordan Clarkson and Malik Beasley specifically, you can get great value back for those guys.
I agree. I definitely
you can get great value back. And then a guy like Mike Conley, you get somebody. Even look, I mean, Miami's sitting there, Lowry's in and out of the lineup, somebody's going to need a point guard, a veteran point guard down the stretch of the season here. We got to see what injuries are like and everything like that. But somebody's going to need a point guard, and that's the team to go after you. If you want to raid somebody's roster, it's Utah.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, honestly, and I agree. I mean, we've still got a little bit of time before the trade deadline, but I can absolutely see the Jazz being a team that sells at the deadline, and try to kind of coast. I don't want to say tank, but kind of coast the back end of the season and hopefully be in a position to draft high, ideally number one in the draft,
Yeah, that's the wildest part. And this is like my last point is like, that's the funny part is like why it's so crazy. Because if we get there, we're already here and they're hovering around 500. If we get there and they're like a game or two above 500, like that's the decision. Like, are we going to go ahead with this group and just see if we can do it this way? Or are we going to blatantly destroy a winning team in order to get, is this kid that good is basically the question I'm asking. Is he worth that? Like, do you really want to raise your chances of getting him that much that you will break down a winning team this year that can't win a championship, but albeit a winning team, just so you can raise your chances?
That's the biggest thing about it is that I think we all know that this team isn't a championship contender. So as a GM, you've got to look at the landscape over the next, 2, 3, 4 years. You need to see who's available, who could potentially be available, who's coming up in the draft. Like all of those things go into the decision that Danny Ainge has to make this year, because a lot's riding on it, quite frankly.
Yeah. And we know you have no faith.
Yeah. And then to go back to your point, you mentioned that the Jazz aren't getting people to go there in free agency. So they got to build through the draft. And I think another part of that is kind of what Donovan Mitchell touched on in some of the racism that he faced while he was a member of the Jazz in Utah. And this isn't new. It's not the first time that we've heard players come out and say, fans heckling, even, like players on the team experiencing things like that. And I think it's very telling of who Donovan Mitchell. Why do I keep on saying his name wrong? Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell as a person. Like, we know he's a great player. He poured his heart out on the court. They had very good teams in Utah, just couldn't get over the hump while he was there. But the welcome that he received coming back from Utah, or coming into Utah, particularly after he said these things about his experience in Utah, I just think it speaks volumes to who he is as a person.
For real. He's a very thoughtful person. Like in all the interviews and talking about that whole trade process, and he was very honest and very open. Like, I'm straight. I love Cleveland. I'm glad I'm here. This is a great team, but I wanted to go to New York. Like, he's like, I thought I was going. Like, that's where I thought I was going. He had his bags packed, ticket punched, everything was ready. So it's just crazy how honest he's been about the whole process.
Yeah. And then he posted that clip of I forget what the kid's name is, but after every game, after every game, he was waiting for Donovan Mitchell. So this is the first time since the trade, and the kid had tears in his eyes, and it just a beautiful thing. I know we talk about athletes being heroes and things like that, and with real life stuff, the trainers that help DeMar Hamlin and things like that, like, those are the real heroes. But like, athletes, they really do play a big role in, especially kids' lives. Like, that's who they look up to, that's who they aspire to be.
That inspirational role.
So when you have a player like a Donovan Mitchell going to a new place, I'm assuming he's going to have that same type of impact in Cleveland like he did in Utah.
Tough break though, man. Dang, how you start your career like that? Salt Lake City, then Cleveland,
Man, we're not bashing Cleveland, man. Cleveland, I had a great time in Cleveland.
Cleveland straight. Shout out to my cousin Eddie, man. Shout out to my cousin Eddie Price. He's out there. So, he loved Cleveland. He would not be happy if I was talking down in Cleveland.
Exactly. So you need to watch your mouth. So we're going to talk about another team in the East. Team that seems to be on every episode of Heat Check, the Brooklyn Nets. KD goes down with an injury, a right MCL sprain. If we remember, last year he sprained his left MCL, and he was out for 21 days. They went 5-16 during that time. That was the roster that had a part-time Kyrie, James Harden, and company. They're going to reevaluate him in a couple of weeks. But let's assume he's out for the rest of the month through the end of January. That'll be 10 games. What do you think their record can realistically be if Kevin Durant is out for 2 or 3 weeks?
So I'm looking at the games through January.
Yep.
In that time, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
No, I was gonna give you the teams that they play. So
I'm looking at them. They're only playing. This is crazy, and you're gonna be wilding with this. They're only playing one winning team in that stretch. And can you guess who that winning team is?
Boston.
No, it's the New York Knicks. They're playing Boston tonight. But they're playing the Knicks. And that's the only other winning team. Every other team that they play has a losing record. Oh yeah, Philadelphia. They got Philadelphia. Sorry. So Philadelphia's in there. They have them on the 25th. They have the Knicks on the 28th. And they have Boston tonight. Otherwise, I mean, Phoenix will be a tough game. I just mentioned Utah. They'll play them tough.
Yep.
I mean,
10 games.
They're on the road for a lot of these. So that's going to be tough. They got to go to Golden State, to Phoenix, to Utah. And then, and to Philadelphia. I mean, look, in those 10 games, I'm gonna say that they go 4-6.
Okay.
4-6. I think that's just. I think that they should win. They should be 6-4, but I think in that time, there's some teams that are gonna get them. Like there's just some teams that are below 500 that are gonna get them. Like the Lakers could get them. Utah, as I mentioned, again, they could get them. Philly could get them. Phoenix can get. There's a lot. There's every team can get them without Kevin. Every team can get them.
So, I don't disagree with you totally. I mean, I think they're going to be around 500. I think they'll be 5-5. But I mean, to your point, I could see them going 4-6. I could see them going 6-4. I don't think they're going to sweep the rest of the month or anything like that. But I think they'll be around 500, which is considerably better than the stretch when they were without KD last year, right? I also think the team is considerably better this time around than it was last year. Supporting cast that they got in that James Harden trade. Ben Simmons is playing. He's playing okay. Like he's
playing pretty good.
Yeah, he's not.
He's doing what he does well. He's rebounding.
Correct.
He's playing defense and he's distributing.
And then
they don't need him to score.
Yeah, and then you have Kyrie, who's been playing lights out over the last month or so.
Get him focused on basketball.
So I think they've got enough firepower to be able to weather the storm, and ultimately that's what they're trying to do. And I think if they're able to be in that range, in that 4 to 6 win range during the rest of this month, I think that allows the Nets and KD to be a little more cautious. The last thing you want to do is rush him back because you guys go, you win 2 out of the next 10. And he's like, well, shoot, I need to get back on the court to make sure, we're still in contention. We're still in this going into the All-Star break and then the back end of the season.
You got to go hard.
Yeah. So if Brooklyn is able to hover around 500 during this stretch, I think they're able to kind of wean KD back into the lineup, and it'll just be a better situation for them, going into the All-Star break in February and then beyond.
Yeah, it helps that he's like a superstar player that can play off of other, even role players.
Absolutely.
That it helps that he doesn't need the ball. He doesn't need you to call plays for him every time. He can score and do everything he does well in so many different ways. So it helps that Kevin is the type of player that he is, and but it also he makes them, just his presence on the court makes everything easier for all those other guys because you have to pay so much attention to him. So I am curious to see, how everybody looks and how other teams defend them without him on the court.
And we'll see tonight against Boston. I mean, that's going to be a big test right off, right out the gates to kind of see where they're at mentally, physically. And, if they're able to get a win in Boston, I think that really sets the tone for the rest of the month. You know what I'm saying?
Credit to Jacques Vaughn, man, because Jacques Vaughn had them doing the thing that Steve Nash didn't have them doing. They're defending now at a high level. And that's really what's turned everything around for them. They've been locking people down. So take that interim tag off if they got it on. That's your coach.
I'm with you on that. So you mentioned, or in our show notes, you mentioned a team that is trending in the wrong direction, unfortunately. I think they're sitting at 6 in the West, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. The Los Angeles Clippers, they were on a 6-game losing streak. They won last night, I believe, against Dallas, but they're 3-7 in their last 10. And it really feels like that team is in limbo. They had a chance. They had a very wide window, in my opinion, a couple years ago, even into the bubble playoff scenario. Is it time to blow this team up, or do you think they can kind of rally the troops and really make a push this year, next year, with the West as currently constructed?
This team is an enigma because on paper, they have every single thing that you could possibly want and need to be a championship team, but it just hasn't worked. They have everything. I don't even need to name all the things they have, all the pieces. They got wings. They have rebounding, big who could defend it, around the rim. They have 2 big-time offensive playmakers. Obviously, they both haven't been able to stay healthy, and that's a big part of this picture. But when they both were healthy in the bubble, you see they let Luka come in and send them home.
Yep.
It's just weird. They got Ty Lue. He's a championship winning coach. I don't know what is wrong with them, but it just they're not bringing it every night. From a basketball standpoint, I just think that Ty Lue he's not using them the right way. It's a little too much one on one. It's a little too much guard play. I think they need to get the ball moving. You got so many wings. They need to get the ball moving and get guys moving without the ball. They need cuts. They got so many slashers and dunk. They're built a lot very similarly to Denver, and all Denver does is let Jokic distribute or Jamal Murray. These guys are one pass and it's cut basket, one pass corner three, one pass and everything is just moving around your playmaker. So that's something that I think could work for them because they got guys who can score. There's tons of guys who can score. Reggie Jackson, Covington, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Batum, they all could score. And these are all wings that can defend too. So they shouldn't be. They're not a 6 seed team. In a year like this, where LeBron and the Lakers are down, Anthony Davis missing time, you got Dallas is just Luka. They should not be ahead of you. You got Sacramento ahead of you. New Orleans, they haven't been. Brandon Ingram hasn't been healthy all season. Zion's been in and out of the lineup. McCollum's been in and out of the lineup. The Memphis is Memphis. In Denver, I think that the Clippers should be in a year like this. The Warriors are down. Phoenix is down. They should be like at 1 or 2 right now, not flirting with the play-in. So hovering around 500 and flirting with the play-in. So is it time to blow this thing up? No. Because I feel like they're a lightning in a bottle team that when it does click, they can make a run in the playoffs. They have enough talent. So I don't think you should blow it up yet. But if you first rounding out this year, they got to change something.
So my thing with this team is the team annoyed me from the start, just the way that Paul George and Kawhi got there. But I think
it was an annoying process.
Yeah. I think there's 2 things. So as great as the 2 of them are, Kawhi and Paul George, I don't think either one of them is a bona fide superstar. And I don't know if we've had this conversation this year or if it was in previous years, but there's a lot of great players in the NBA. There are a lot of superstars in the NBA. Or no, there's a lot of stars in the NBA. There aren't a lot of superstars in the NBA.
There's 4 or 5 superstars.
Yeah, and I don't think Kawhi or Paul George, I don't think they're one of them.
Not Paul George. I think Kawhi is closer. A healthy Kawhi is closer to what you're referring to or what you're about to refer to as a superstar. To me, he has led a team to a championship.
No. Well, yes, he did lead a team to a championship, but that team was already a great team before he got there.
It was a great team. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They were consistently in the conference finals every year.
Yeah. So he definitely came in and put them over the top. And like, don't let me sit here and I don't want to make it seem like I'm discrediting him. Like playoff run in 2019 was one of the best we've ever seen. But let's not act like he went there and took a team that was a 10 seed to the finals and won. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that Paul George, I had to go and look at his stats. Paul George is really good. And like every year he's like really good. But I think he was a fringe superstar, if not a superstar, a fringe superstar prior to him breaking his leg. And he's come back and he's been, again, he's been great. I just don't think he ever made that leap to superstardom ever since he came back from the injury. So the 2 of them, as great as they are, I don't know if they gel. And I mean, we've kind of seen it. We've kind of seen it in the playoffs, and the fact that they're so regularly injured and not on the court at the same time. I think all of that kind of plays into this. So I agree with you. I don't think it's time to blow it up, but I think they're getting very close to where
They're
it's
getting
like,
close.
hey, this team isn't going to win. As currently constructed, they're not going to win, and we might
Not a
need to make some
championship.
changes. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
they'll be a playoff team. They will make first, second round, or maybe even get hot and get to a conference finals. But this team right now, the way they're playing, they are not beating anyone
Yeah,
to get to an NBA final and even have a chance at the ring.
I agree. And I think the biggest thing you mentioned was that series in the bubble against the Dallas Lucas, and
Yeah,
he's almost single-handedly
he
took them
flamed
out.
them.
Yeah.
And these are two, Paul George and Kawhi, like these are two guys that are top level defenders,
Yep.
allegedly, in the
Yep.
league. And nobody could stop him. And they had more guys that they were sending at. Nobody could stop Luka that night.
Nobody.
Nobody can stop
Nobody.
Luka now.
And that was the team. They had Patrick Beverly. Like they had all these players, all these defensive, stoppers, and couldn't do anything. And again, like coaching is part of it. Like there's a lot that goes into it. And I know we both know that. But again, you would just think with two, top 15 players in the league, you would be able to get past a Dallas Mavericks team that was playing with Luka. I don't even know it was Porzingis playing in that series.
I think
Didn't he
I
get
want to
hurt?
say that he was hurt in the bubble, right?
Yeah,
Like didn't he get hurt in the bubble and like
I
not
think
finish?
so. Yeah. So
I think that's what it was.
So they're hovering around this. They're at the 6th seed, but again, hovering right around the play-in. And to your point, I mean, let's say they are in a play-in and they get bounced early. I mean, I think there's real questions that need to be answered about that
point,
team.
Yeah, at that point, you drop a nuke on that whole thing, and just restart. Because there are teams that will walk. Send one of them dudes down the hall and see what. I mean, I don't know what the Lakers got. They got something in the future for you.
Something.
So get some. I don't know how many years out before they get a first round pick again. But the next one, just get that for one of those dudes, and that's it.
And I think one of the things that ownership, more so than anything, is going to have to think about, they're looking to, or they might already be in construction of their arena.
Construction, yeah.
So you don't want to build, invest all this money and have your team be in the gutter like you have been for 25 years. You know what I'm saying?
Risky business.
They're in a tough spot. They've definitely got some decisions to make. Hopefully they can make a run.
They need this thing to go. They need this thing to go. Let's just be real. They need this thing to go. Everything is riding on. I mean, they really went. You want to talk about an all-in move, superstar or not? That was an all-in move. They traded draft picks for Paul George to get him here and team him up with Kawhi, who they turned down multiple other free agents that were available that year to make sure that they could bring him home and everything like that. So, look, this got to go. This got to work.
Yeah, I agree.
And Ballmer knows that.
I agree. And again, I hope they do turn it around. I mean, I think it'll make for good TV. I hope they do turn it around. But
I like an underdog, as you know. And
yes.
I mean, one thing we've seen a lot of things in NBA basketball. One thing we have never seen is a Clippers in the finals.
Yes.
And I'm a fan of seeing things I've never seen before. I like that.
So let me ask you this.
Let's do it.
Let me ask you this. You said that this thing needs to go. What would a successful season for the Clippers be this year?
They need to be in the conference finals and not get swept. It needs to go 6-7 games. Like they need to be close to a championship this year. They need to be playing against Phoenix, playing against Denver, playing against Golden State in the conference finals, and with a chance to go to the championship. That's the only way you keep this thing together and say, yo, we can run it back next year. We were right there this year. We were right there. So let's run it back next year. We go the rest of the way. If you are out in the second round, you blow that thing to pieces.
Okay. I'm with you, honestly. I truly don't see this as a championship.
This is their fourth year together.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see it
So
as a championship team as currently constructed. But I'm with you. Like they've got to
yeah,
be competitive in the playoffs, a deep run in the playoffs, a conference championship, or playing in the conference championship. I'm with you. If they
yeah,
get there, then it's like, okay, maybe we need to tweak our roster a little bit. We need to bring in
right.
one or two more guys, and like we can truly make a push at this thing.
Because you know
Um,
what it does? It narrows the scope. We played good enough to get to a game 6 in the conference finals. But what killed us in that series
yes,
was XYZ. You're able to
yes,
narrow it down and say, yo, okay, now all we got to do is we can move Covington and this guy, maybe attach a pick and go and get that guy. And if we get that guy, we're going to the finals next year. That's what you're doing. So
that's
if
a
you
really
won't
interesting
be
thought.
able
Yeah,
to, yeah, you won't be able to determine that from getting knocked out. If you're getting knocked out in the first, second round, it's for a number of reasons. You're
yes,
not going to be able to
that's a
fix that in the conference
fantastic point.
finals. You can narrow the scope and say, all right, watch. You can watch back 3 games of film and understand why you lost them and
Yeah,
what could replace that, and look around the league and find that and fix that one problem. Rather, once you lose that early, like I said in the playoffs, then blow it up. If you have that many problems, then go fix all of them and blow the whole thing up. So that's where
yeah,
I'm looking at it.
yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. And you brought up Denver, potentially seeing the Clippers in the conference finals. They're being led by two-time MVP, Nikola Jokic,
Joker, the
um,
Joker.
the Joker. Do you think this man can three-peat with the way that he's playing this year as MVP?
So the wild thing about it is, and I'm still Luca. Luca is the MVP right now. Nobody's gonna argue with me. But this man is making quite the argument. 25 points a game, that's good for 16th in the league. 11 rebounds per game, that's good for 5th in the league. 9.7 assists, it's gonna be 10 by the end of the season. That's good for 3rd in the league. Listen, when Russell Westbrook as a point guard averaged a triple double, we were going berserk. We were like,
Yes.
there's nobody else that can. And that was for a 6 seed team. Denver is the second in the West. He is the biggest reason for that. And like I said, I mentioned how they play. He's playing point center. There's a
Yeah.
new position for him. He gets the rebound on defense, brings it
Yep.
up the court.
Yep.
Things start moving on offense, and he don't never not make the right play. I know that's a double negative, but he always makes the right pass. And it's
Yeah.
like one pass, boom, guy in the corner. One pass, boom, backdoor cut, Aaron Gordon, dunk. One pass, boom, Michael Porter Jr., other side, dunk. Like every single time. And he's doing it in a way. So, I mean, if the dude ends up averaging a triple double for a top team in the West, like, I'm screaming for Luca, but dang, that's an
Yeah.
argument. And he's doing all this on 62% shooting from the field, by the
Yeah.
way. That's unbelievable.
So I'm on the record of saying that I feel like you can't win with a traditional big in the league. But to your point, this man
He's
is
not
not
a
a
traditional
traditional
big.
big. So
He's a point center.
he continues to just shatter barriers because you look at him, you look at his body type, you look at his speed or lack thereof, and it's like, yo, like, how is this man doing all the things that he's doing? But he's
And they be
truly just,
trying, yo.
yeah,
They be trying hard.
he's controlling the pace of the game, completely under control. He could shoot the three. He's nifty and shifty in the paint,
Everything.
like whole package for
Whole
the Joker.
package.
So for a little context, there's only been three-peat MVPs. We had Bill Russell in 1960 to 63, Wilt Chamberlain 65 to 68, and
And the
Larry
big O,
Bird.
right? Oh, Larry Bird did it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
So
Oscar Robertson. Oh, wow.
no. So
Larry
it's
Bird won 3 in a row. Was it 82, 83, 84, or
83 through 86.
83 to 86? Okay.
So
Yeah,
it
83.
doesn't happen
Okay.
often. It doesn't happen often. But to your point, will be averaging a triple double.
Yeah.
He's the best player on one of the best teams in the league. but I think there's two reasons why he won't win the MVP. One is because he won the last two MVPs,
They can't
and
do it. Yeah.
it's
They're like,
it's the
wait, you're gonna
LeBron
pick three
effect.
this time?
It's the
Yeah.
LeBron effect where
This might
you're
be his best of the 3 seasons too, which is
which
wild.
which will make it very, very difficult for them not to give it to him if he keeps up this pace and these numbers at the end of the season.
Yeah.
The second reason I think he does not get it is because he's not, you read off his stats, he's not significantly better. He's not in the top of anything aside from triple doubles.
Right.
And even the
Right.
triple doubles, I think Luka has 9, he has 11.
Yeah.
And
11 or
Joker,
12. He had 12. He had one last night.
okay.
So 12 triple doubles and then 28 double doubles.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
So I totally agree.
He's doing it every night.
Joker, I think the one thing that will play against him in the MVP case, at least to this point, he does not have a single defining moment from the season. So
no, just all good games.
Yes.
No like crazy game where it was like 55 and 26. He's done those before. Yeah. He's had those, but he hasn't
just
had
not
that.
This year.
Every night, he did one cool. It was like 15, 15, and 15. Yeah. That was cool. And then, but it's like 15 twice. But it's because he doesn't need to. He's got 4 guys. They do it all the work. Like, that is the reason. So to push back on what you're saying, the reason, but I also agree with you. The reason I don't think he's going to win it is because a guy like Giannis. They looked at Jokic's seasons the last 2 years and they said, man, he's doing all this without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr. And look at, he's still winning. He's still got these guys there. Look at Giannis right now. Chris Middleton has played 7 games this year. Drew Holiday has been in and out of the lineup. Grayson Allen in and out of the lineup. Serge Ibaka, one of their key reserves, in and out of the lineup. So, and Giannis being Giannis. Giannis has been in and out of the lineup a little bit. But still, when he's there, he's doing great things. So, if you're going to look at it from that perspective, I'm just looking at it from, how do they not give it to him when he's doing what from Jokic's standpoint, he's doing what we've said. That's what we've raved about with other players. He's doing that right now. But then it's like you look at the other side, other guys are doing what he was given the MVP for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Luka winning with no one else. They are a lottery team without Luka.
Yeah. The Joker, he's almost too consistently good to get the MVP this year. He's too consistent because he's not.
Weird.
He doesn't have the 60, 20, 10 game.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a 50 point triple double. Like he's just consistent, and I think that might play against him.
His signature is consistency, and that's why we can't reward that. You have to score 70, bro.
We need 170-point game, and we'll hand you the MVP.
Just one. I'm sure we got 41 games left. Yeah. I think he's gonna get one. He'll have that one game.
He's definitely got one in his bag.
Oh yeah, where he gets up there and it's like 48, 50, because he has those games. He'll start shooting the 3 a little bit.
Yep.
He'll get it going. If other guys are off, one night these other guys will be off, and he'll say, "All right, I got to score tonight."
So, before we get out of here, Cash, do you have any games that you're excited for this week?
Okay, let me pull my schedule up. I just had it too. I accidentally moved it out of the way. Oh, where are we? For the week you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I'm always excited about Knicks basketball. Okay,
I'm
always excited about Knicks basketball. They don't have anything crazy coming in though, but there's a Saturday game that I think everybody needs to keep their eye on. And Milwaukee's going to Miami. That's a 1:00 ABC. That's on Saturday. That game, if Miami's starting to. That game the other night was wild. We didn't talk about the 40 for 40 free throw game, which is egregious on the ref part, but and on Oklahoma City from a defensive standpoint, like, dog, dude, stop fouling, stop hacking. But that's neither here nor there. But Milwaukee and Miami's kind of making a push to get back into this thing, back into the playoff run and everything, and really to get back all the way up into where they're
Yep.
secure, not
They're
in the
finally
play-in.
up
So
over 500 now. So
yeah, yeah, and then they're getting healthier. So that's the game I want to look at. That's 1 o'clock on Saturday, and that's going to be on ABC. So yeah,
okay,
check that one out, man.
we'll
I
definitely have
think
to.
they might be getting. I want to say that that Middleton might be targeting that game, but I'm
Okay.
not sure.
We'll have to keep our eye on that, and we'll have to circle back around and see if it lived up to expectations next week.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
but before we get out of here, anything else? I'll give you
that's
a minute.
awesome.
Nothing about the Knicks this week.
Oh, about the Knicks. Oh my God! Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. But yo, the one thing I'm doing, and I did it on Twitter as my campaign, Jalen Brunson, make him an all-star starter. He has changed the New York Knicks team. He has changed their demeanor. He's changed the energy in the garden. He's changed the energy in the fan base. He has stepped up. For 104 million, he has worked every single penny. He's changed the culture. And now
So
you can't call us no bum Knicks no more. They're not bums. Even the games that they lose, they're losing close. And they used to be getting blown out the gym. We're losing
yeah.
close games that we winning with good quality teams. All right? So that's what I want to say. The Knicks, man, you're not going to get that past me. Y'all not calling us no more. We here.
So, so I'm with you. I'll be the first to tell you I'm not sitting and watching a whole bunch of Knicks games. I know you watch every game,
Every
but
single game.
the games that I've watched recently, I would say in the last probably, I mean, since Christmas. I know Jalen Brunson didn't play on Christmas,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've caught a few games since then. And to your point, he is phenomenal, especially like down the stretch. And we saw him last year in Denver. Play or not in Denver, in Dallas. Just in crunch time, he's so
he's shooting
cool
like
under pressure.
60% from the field, and
Yeah,
and he's shooting like 58% from third. Like, bro, his numbers are ridiculous. He has an 8-2 assist to turnover ratio in the crunch time, which they define as under 4 minutes in the game.
Yep.
8-2. He only averages 6 assists a game. So he is really raising his level of play down the stretch of this game. They've had some bad breaks. The ball bounced not in their direction, like that Luka game. And then this other night with Drew Holiday, he was like 1 for 12. Hits 2 highly contested step back three. Daggers murdered me. I was sitting here, bro. It's like I'm so used to this. I didn't even react. I be seeing them. I'm like, because I just know. So man, that's what they got to do, yo. You see what the Knicks need? They need that one star. They need a superstar. They need a guy who can stop that bleeding. Jalen Brunson, he is worth. Keep him here. Make him an all-star. That is a good start to what they're building forward. RJ is starting to turn it on a little bit. I gotta give Julius Randle his credit. He's playing great. There's bonehead plays down the stretch that coaching. Well, if you just coach him to play better, he will play better. But they just give him the ball to play hero ball down the stretch, and that's not what he is. He's not Carmelo. Stop it. Play through the offense. Move the ball. When you guys are up on assists, you guys do good things. Get your assists up. Play together. Use each other. Last night, the key players, key shot makers in the win last night against the Pacers, a playoff team, Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly. These guys making key plays. That's what you need, man.
Okay. We'll keep our eyes on the Knicks too. We'll continue to circle back. I'm sure you'll definitely keep us in the loop with the Knicks. But
they're the 6th seed right now. They're in the playoff firmly. We in the playoffs, not the play in, like y'all thought. Like I thought.
For now.
Like I thought.
For now.
Now we coming. And shout out to the Sacramento Kings too, man. Y'all making me a little smart. I can't wait till they end the playoffs and we run back that clip at the end of the season.
Bro.
I'm so hyped because all of Sacramento's gonna love me. They're gonna give me the key to the city. It's gonna be beautiful. I'm going to a playoff game. I'm gonna cover it.
You have to,
bro. That is major news since 2005.
Yeah.
You were in high school.
Yeah, crazy. I was a senior in high school.
That's wild, bro. My freshman year in college, I actually remember those playoff games. I think they got swept.
Yeah. The Kings had some great teams. I love those teams, man, with Peja and Chris Webber.
Mike Bibby, Doug Christie.
Yes.
They had some guys, man. Old Vladdy. He was like the original Joker, yo.
Yes.
If you really think about it, he was kind of the original Joker. It was like Vladdy P doing them like behind the
Yep.
head passes and crazy stuff like that. Like Vladdy was
Bro,
the original Joker.
that team was so fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
And they just ran into buzzsaws in the playoffs.
They ran into Shaquille O'Neal. That is highly recommend if you have an HBO Max account, watch Shaq's documentary.
Yeah.
Bruh, you really, as I'm a grown man now, you'll see how dominant this man was, bro. Like, Dikembe Mutombo was the defensive player of the year, and he was just eating him. he turned and drop step on him, sent this man into the third row. It was crazy in the finals.
They didn't stand a chance in those finals, man.
No chance. Hey, I got that step back though, and a step back and a step over. That they have their highlight from that series,
bro. I remember watching because I think I've told you, like, I don't have a team, so I've always liked players. And at that time, I was a huge Iverson fan. So I remember we were on a school trip and the game was playing. I'm in that's 2001. So I was in high school, but we couldn't go to the bar. So we were standing outside the bar watching the game and we saw him hit that shot. I was so hyped. I'm like, yo, like they're going to win. They're going to win the finals. They're going to win the championship. And that was short-lived, man.
Yeah, that was it. It was over a couple nights later.
Bro.
You need better guns than Aaron McKee and Eric Snow and Tyrone.
They tried, man. They tried.
Dikembe, he had a great season that year, too. He was blocking everything. And Shaq was like, yeah, you need more muscle for me. You ain't blocking nothing. Shaq was really tough. My man was defeated. There was a picture. He had both ices on his knees. He had ice on his chest. He had ice on his chest. It's because he kept catching shoulders to the chest.
Yo.
His sternum was bruised.
And you know, Shaq, I can only imagine, just like the way Shaq is, I can only imagine he got the ball in the post, drop step, hit him with his shoulder, and he probably heard Dikembe like, ugh, and was like, yo. And Shaq was like, yeah, I'm going to do this every time.
Every time.
You're going to catch this every time.
Punishing that man, yo. That was crazy, yo.
Nah, I got to check that out.
Hurting. Yeah, you got to watch it. That's good. It's just called Shaq.
All right, I'm going to look into that. But that does it for another episode of Heat Check. Again, if there's anything you guys want us to touch on, or if you have questions or suggestions or anything like that, let us know down below. And yeah, we just want to talk some basketball. We do.
That's it.
Speaking of, I know I mentioned it last week. We got a plan in the next week or two. All-star picks. I know you're advocating for Jalen Brunson.
Every day I do them. Every day I vote for Jalen Brunson. I did it 3 times the other day because they let you vote 3 times a day.
We got to figure out what we're gonna do with that, but don't let me forget. In the next couple of weeks, we're gonna do that
because we're in the midway in the season, and the game is February 19th, Sunday to February 19th. So we're about a month away. So we can start talking about that. Who do we like? I still want to see. There's still more to be seen. There's still. I want a few. There's a few. Like there's some guys who are. I have moved some guys in and out. Like there's some guys who are firmly in, but it's the East front court. I have questions because it's like right now I have Embiid, Durant, Giannis, right? But that leaves out Tatum.
Yeah. It's crowded over there, man.
And then in the West, forget about it. I got like LeBron, Jokic, and then I think my third that I put in there was Lauri Markkanen, who is deserving of a starting spot, and it's in Utah.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. I think he's going to get that fan vote. I think that he's definitely going to get the starting spot.
He'll
because it's in Utah. They should go crazy for him.
Yeah.
But that's going to be tough. And then the guards out west, forget about it, yo. Steph's going to probably come off the bench if they don't make him a captain. I don't know.
We shall see.
It's nuts. I just picked Luka and Shea. Good to start the So I left out Ja. I left out Steph. I left out Devin Booker. I left out Dame Lillard. I left out all these guys who are playing great right now.
I mean,
Yeah, it's tough.
for what it's worth, I think that means the league is in a very good spot.
Very good place.
Anyway, we'll get into that more in the coming weeks. But
For
again,
sure.
any suggestions, questions, anything like that, please let us know down below. And again, my name is Johnell. This is my guy, Matt Price, Cash Walk-In, and this is Heat Check. We will be back with y'all next week.